What's up guys, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be making a short review for the SaGa Soul 3rd Anniversary Eve banner. And let me tell you this from the start, this banner is better than the UDX Rerun banner. For many different reasons. There are more characters here, 27 instead of 19, but it also kind of makes it hard to get the one that you desire. But you can still use paid gens and PT 4 of them if you really want. But with free gens you have a wide variety of different characters to pull as well. And we also have 10% drop rates as it happens on the UDX banner. So let's start talking about all of them. Now, just one small fix from my past UDX banner review, I forgot to mention Matcha. It's not that she's not good, she's actually neat in my opinion. It's just that the skills that she has to offer will not matter too much in the future. She can debuff intelligence by 30%, that's not bad, but intelligence debuff strategies are not what they used to be, since bosses can defy weaknesses most of the time, removing the debuff. And she does have Rock Stings, the cheapest AoE attack that can stun, and she can keep using it as long as she wants. While she self-buffs intelligence and will, she will be one of the best options to stun. It's just that we also don't need to stun that often, it's pretty rare in very specific challenges, and you can easily find again in staff users. So she also changes elements more in the future, be more focused on heat and blunt, and she has kinda pierce damage here. So kinda mid, but nothing important. The characters that are more important I already mentioned on that video. Now let's move to the SaGa Soul styles, and I'll start talking about the characters that will affect more your account. The first one being Mask. This is a real tank that can draw more enemy attacks by inheritance of Great Adventure from his gun style, but you can PT that style right now in any premium banner, and once he gets hit a lot, he gets more overdrive, and he can also cover. And when on overdrive, he will heal the party for 1000. That is a really cool way to survive long fights. Mask competes with Rag Robin, but sometimes it's the best choice because he is resistant to blunt, while Polka is weak to blunt. And you can still use Mask even if you have time. They can be used together because Mask is a real tank while time is just a buffer. And he works well on Remembrance as well. After Mask, we have ScherBR. This character here is a really good farmer, but could also work on Remembrance if you are lacking options there. His attack called Izuna is really strong. It's just a roll attack with double S power that lands both slash and pierce damage. But the thing is, ScherBR buffs his status on the start of a turn and also gets BP, and when he kills a target he gets 5 BP back. That means you can use Izuna 3 times in a row if you happen to kill a target. He can solo story mode depending on the stage and even events, so he is a really good character to carry trainees to raise his status. And he can even inflict confusion for Remembrance if you need that much. He's a character that will stay relevant for some time just because of the way that he farms. After ScherBR we have SaGa. That is another good farmer, but he works differently. He can inherit Waterfall Blade Plus, that is a common attack shared by many other farmers, but his damage is just too good. He has a lot of damage capabilities right on the start of turn, and you can use Waterfall Blade Plus 3 times in a row, reaching higher heights. Sometimes SaGa is the only one capable of solo farming a stage. He also has a really strong opener for AoE, with a weak AoE after that. For Final Island it just works, and then he can also just inherit a Slash and Lightning Nuke that he can use on turn 1. So there are some options to do damage. He's not a perfect farmer, but for one big hit he works pretty well and will still be relevant in the foreseeable future. The next one should be Kylie. Kylie has 4 BP per turn and uses a 7 BP skill that buffs intelligence and will by 25% while also doing damage. So if you have a challenge where you can bring mages to buff the intelligence for more damage or more chances of debuff, and you also need to protect yourself against magical attacks, Kylie is a good call. And he can even buff those 2 status again with a chance, and self-cleanses and removes debuffs on the end of every turn. He is also very defensive, so a character that will work in those boss situations. He's not as good as Time, and sometimes Diana is better, but it's yet another one and uses different weapon types. For Remembrance, it just simply works. The next character will be Krienhild, and she is a really good farmer for story, some events, and also Final Island. Krienhild has some damage potential on start, and then after that she reduces her damage, but Light of Blue Quartz is really powerful. It opens with a fast attack with S-Power, Lightning, and Pierce, and after that, on turn 3 she uses Thunderbolt. That is another fast attack, but this time just lightning. But the damage can be really good if you forge a strong weapon for Krienhild. And I use her all the time on Final Island, and on story mode she still works really well. The next one should be Sekisushai, a really good tank that can counter with very good passives. He taunts on the start of a turn, and then buffs his endurance and will when he gets attacked, and also buffs his own OD gauge. And when he enters OD gauge, he's going to chase all of his attacks with this triple S Jolting Slash Plus, that is both Slash and Lightning. He also has Hyper Overtension, but he does not have a damage reduction passive. On the start of the fight, he's going to take more damage than other tanks. But he has access to Disarm, that is an evasive counter stance. He's not taking damage there and counters with A power and has a chance to debuff STR. But what you can do with Sekisushai is reach Overdrive. He's going to get that pretty fast. And then you use Disarm, and each counter will trigger this counter attack Jolting Slash Plus. So you reach very high damage potential with Sekisushai if the enemy attacks multiple times in a turn. And he also has this Jolting Slash X attack with 4S damage, and well, it's a pretty explosive attack, but just cannot be used easily. But, well, he can be a key character for some counter strategies. Although, Arpina is usually better overall since she has options for AoE and single targeted, and it's usually enough. The next character I believe is Socho, because he is a really good farmer with Missile. Well, it doesn't seem so, because it's a C power attack, but it's pretty close to B. And if you have the Remembrance gun, Socho is doing more than 100,000 damage by use of Missile, and he can use 3 times in a row for story. So even when he cannot finish it by himself, he can just help other people attack. The only problem with Socho is his agility. He also has this Leave It To Me attack that has Morale up and Guard up, but he just dies. You have to revive him later. But the Morale up is used to increase the damage potential on raids or also on some bosses that have only one wave. So still a very good style that I use many times. The next one should be Radnage, and he is a really good shadow damage dealer. Although he loses to Global Axe Rouge in potential, he can help with different ways. He is really self-sustainable. When he attacks, he has a 50% chance to chase with Drain Energy Plus that self-heal, so he will always be on high HP. And when he attacks, even counting the chase, he will always recover 1 VP and debuff 5% of the target's will, so he can help inflict debuffs or status ailments in challenges. He also has access to High Protection to not easily die in fights. He also has access to Fire Hat by Inheritance, so he will always debuff will by at least 20% or even 25%. With a very cheap cost. That skill is only 2 VP. He can also use Dark Wash, that is a 10 VP skill that buffs break a boss, so if a boss keeps self-buffing, you need to stop that in order to survive. He's also capable of inflicting Confusion, Stun, and Poison by Inheritance. None of these are too special, mostly use it on Remembrance. He loses his place to Global Axe Rouge that offers more to the team, but if you really need will debuffs, he's one of the best ones to have. And after Radnage, another character that has similar utility for will debuff is Ruby, because she has a 50% chance to debuff the enemy will by 15%, and she also has access to Fire Hat, the same attack as Radnage. So in that specific turn, she can debuff will by 30%. If you have those two characters, you can easily inflict ailments in events like Tower. Bring 2 debuffers, 2 buffers, and 1 status inflictor, and you are set. Well, besides will debuffing, Ruby is just outclassed, but, well, it's one that will work if the time comes. Now I shall talk about characters that have lower value. They are not worth the pity, but let's say you have 14,000 medals. All you need is 1 multi and you can choose one of them. So let's discuss these characters. I will start with Selma. She's a character that is not really that good since she does not have damage reduction passives. Moving forward, we'll need that for Remembrance, for example, but she just does good enough damage. She has 3 different skills that buffs her own dexterity, and this attack, Blooming Camphor, will buff it even 2 times. She can cycle with skill number 1, buff herself, and then nuke on overdrive. She also carries a very special mechanic called Mithril Wall. She negates the first 4 damages against her. If the boss uses multiple AoE attacks with weak damage, this will break pretty easily, but, well, depending on the formations and support, Selma can help you as a placeholder on Remembrance. She also has a full AoE attack that can be used when you have multiple enemies there. After Selma, there is Netzweiger, a character that has a attack that hits for roll and it's fast, and can be used 3 times in a row for farming. Can sometimes solo farm on story mode. There is also this attack called the Rampage attack that's full AoE with S power. If you got the newest Netzweiger, you can inherit those 2 skills for bigger damage, and you can even use Rampage attack 2 times in a row for very explosive damage. Then we have Laura, that is also an inheritance bot. If you got the UDX Laura, you can inherit Rainbow Reflect. The newest Laura has a chance to get a lot of BP by the end of a turn, and will be capable of using Rainbow Reflect more often. She also just self-heals. The newest one has high protect tension, allowing her to counter more times, and when she's not countering, she is going to receive way less damage. If you like Alcrawl, the newest Alcrawl is a really good tank that draws enemy attacks and boosts his own defense, but, well, he lacks a 0 BP skill to taunt even further, so this Shining Kick is a really good skill to inherit in his newest style. But besides this Alcrawl has nothing else to offer. The next one is Iskander, and when you look on him, it may not seem, but this guy can do some respectable damage. He has 2 passives that buff his STR by 30% on each turn, and even gets a defense boost. It's not a guard up like some characters have, so it's like having high protect tension. This character can also self-heal with only 3 BP, and heal for a lot. And Crystal Blade is an attack that he can use 2 times that deals respectable damage because of the STR buff. So he can work on Remembrance, slightly work on farming, and his next style is very, very good. He has a design similar to Christmas Impress. He can apply a shield, he can just heal the party, and he can even fill OG Gauge to the max. So even if you don't use this style too much, you can at least inherit the first skill and use it if you really need to heal. Now, I believe all the remaining styles are a full skip, they just don't offer enough. Freely is a character that cannot attack on turn 1 and then use 2 fast AoEs on turn 2 and 3, but that's only Slash, it's not really worth. Lock it into Final Island. Flamer is a healer with nothing else to help in a hard challenge. Eleanor can apply a regen on the end of a turn, but that is also not enough since she cannot self-heal or revive people around. Gianna is a low damage dealer for farming that just doesn't have a place in the meta. The same can be said for Julia, that doesn't really work for anything. Then Arius is a really strange tank that can apply a shield that is just that, and cannot keep data up for the whole fight. Then we have a Cielmer that is not really bad per se. He can even buff intelligence to the party, but it's just that. There's nothing else besides buffing and debuffing intelligence. Then after him, we have Nuzakan that is not really bad. He does have an interesting design, but his future style is not really good, so he's locked on a style that just has to use normal attacks to chase. It's too simple. It's way worse than Radnage, for example. Pyrex works, but he is a character locked into column farming for just heat. We barely have stages for that. And Ventus is strong, yeah, but it's just doesn't have a future. He relies on RNG to double attack, and that's not really good on Remembrance. He doesn't have damage reduction passives as well. The same can be said about Nebelstern, that does have good attacks, but the passives are old and he's not gonna stay relevant. The last one being Skaya, that is really bad. Try to be a BP battery, but Global X Rouge is way above her unutility. And I guess that's it, guys. I hope this can help you decide which characters you may want and if this banner is worth for you. I believe this banner deserves a gold award easily because of the 10% drop rates, although there are some units that are really bad and you may end up getting them before start getting the good ones. On the end, you only need 33,000 gens to PT, and this banner is better than the UDX banner for sure. Still, this will last for a pretty long while, so I suggest you to wait and then come back here when you see that you have enough gens for your purposes. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and please say here in the comments what you think about this all. Hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.